One of the things I love about music is that anyone can make it. And when I say anyone, I mean
anyone.
From the technically gifted to the not so technically gifted. I've even attempted to make music at various points in my life. You could be the normalest of normies and still make music that millions of people can like. Or you can be a complete and utter freak show and make the craziest, most out there music in the world that maybe only a handful of people will truly appreciate, or at least find interesting enough to make, like, documentaries about. What I'm trying to say is there's a lot of odd music and odd musicians out there, and I want to talk about these weirdos.
I'm weird. I'm a weirdo.
Hello and welcome back to another video. If you're new here, I'm Trevor and I am eternally uncool. I make videos about music, music culture, and anything that interests me. But mostly music right now. So if that sounds like something you'd be into, then I highly recommend subscribing to the channel and watching the rest of this video. Outsider music is a genre that normally consists of self-taught musicians, or more commonly artists without musical training or traditional music knowledge. Outsider music has always interested me because it just felt more genuine and sincere than real music. These were musicians being themselves and making music that was unique to who they were. Warts and all. You had Captain Beefheart and his 1969 album Trout Mask Replica, which sounds so bad. Like, it's not a good sounding album. But it just has this surreal charm to it that has caught the imagination and admiration of people like David Lynch.
My smile is stuck. I cannot go back to your frown land.
There's also the Shags, a trio of sisters with no musical training whatsoever, whose instruments were all always out of tune, they couldn't sing, whose time signatures made no sense, but a fortune teller told their dad that they were destined for stardom, so they started a band.
My pal's name is Football, he always likes to roam. My pal's name is Football, I never find him home.
And of course, you can't forget about Wesley Willis, a schizophrenic punk musician who writes these really odd songs about fighting superheroes and McDonald's.
Rock and roll McDonald's. Rock and roll McDonald's. Rock and roll McDonald's.
Outsider music and its artists have given way to more offbeat and peculiar artists who might fit in more to traditional music. Or maybe they don't. There's a lot of weird motherfuckers out there, and I love them all. What I want to do today is take a look at a few lesser known musical oddities. Some of these artists are traditional musicians with some kind of shtick or gimmick. Some are young artists with shitty recordings. And some are just, I don't even know how to describe some of them. So grab a drink, grab a snack, get comfortable, and let's get into the video.
I'm weird. I'm a weirdo.
Very recently, I have become interested in power metal. For those of you who might not know, power metal is a subgenre of metal that combines speed metal and symphonic metal to create something that is fast yet uplifting. Talking about all manners of things from fantastical battles to mythology. It's great music to listen to if you need to get pumped up, or if you just want to listen to music that's all energy all the time. But I also like deathcore, which is kind of like the opposite of power metal. Deathcore mixes elements of death metal and metalcore to make a style of music that is heavier than the weight of the world. There's blast beats, tremolo picking, growling vocals, and lyrical themes ranging from religion to body horror. What would happen if you fuse the two together? Can you even do such a thing? Is it even possible? And what would it sound like? The answer to this question is Dragon Corpse. Dragon Corpse is an interesting band. I mean, how can they not be? The 5 members come from Canada, Australia, and the United States, making them a kind of international act. You have Marty Leith on vocals, Chris Chayer on guitar, Justin Grogan on drums, Noah Laidlaw on bass, and Mark Marin handling the orchestration. Together, these guys create some of the most interesting metal that I've ever heard in my life. Okay, so imagine if you took the blackened death metal of Lorna Shore and you mixed it with the energy of Dragon Force. Stay with me. Then you add a layer of self-awareness and humor. That's Dragon Corpse. One of the things that make Dragon Corpse stand out is their social media presence. A lot of bands will use memes to promote their music and their shows, but Dragon Corpse takes it to a whole different level. They have a running joke on their Instagram where they spotlight a smaller artist. These artists have included Jake the Dog, Creed, and Brother Man Bill.
Brother Man Bill, Brother Man Bill, Brother Man Bill, da-da-da-da-da.
They've coined the term Dragusi, which means... I think you can figure out what it means.
What the fuck?
They'll constantly use dragon iconography, which makes sense. But a lot of times, the dragon iconography in question is the dragon from Shrek, or it's like sexy dragons.
Like the dragon from Shrek.
They're a band that makes really great metal music that fuses 2 super unique genres, while also not taking themselves super seriously. I highly recommend checking them out if you're into heavier music. They're on all streaming platforms. I suggest checking out the Drakith Saga EP. Good shit.
I'm weird. I'm a weirdo.
The late 90s and the early 2000s were the peak of teeny bopper music artists. You had NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera. These were the kings and queens of pop music, constantly appearing on TRL, selling trillions and bajillions of albums, getting their young fans to go absolutely crazy. But they were also very well produced. They were shiny and polished, but there wasn't a lot of personality to be had.
But
That didn't stop them from inspiring younger artists.
Let's go party, oh, let's go crazy, oh, party till 2 and sleep till 1, come on baby, let's have some fun.
X-Cetra sounds like something that was recorded at a sleepover in the early 2000s, which it probably was. These were 4 young preteen girls from Santa Rosa, California, who recorded a bunch of brutally sincere and awkward pop and R&B songs onto a home CDR disc. This group was literally a bunch of not even teenagers, they were like tweenagers. I think the oldest of them was like 12. They were given some tracks by California radio host Don Campau, who put them on his underground music label, The Lonely Whistle. And the tracks were released on a little-known album called Stardust. I'm not gonna lie to you, these songs are rough. These girls are not professional singers. I don't know if they had any kind of training at all. They kind of sound like they're just doing karaoke, but there's also this kind of charm to it. There's that sincerity that only kids can have. Even when they're muttering the lyrics, it's kind of compelling. I don't know if it's just the sheer novelty of it, but this album is a gem of early 2000s teeny bopper pop. And I'm not the only one who thinks so. Because just this year, Numero Group released a 25th anniversary edition of Stardust. It's called Summer 2000. It takes the original album and adds some more material to it. Plus some custom nail polish and a slap bracelet to really get you into the 2000s mood. I highly recommend checking out X-Cetra, especially if you like early 2000s pop cheesiness. It'll make you relive all of your childhood awkwardness.
I'm weird. I'm a weirdo.
There is a lot of great comedy music out there. People tend to forget that comedy musicians like Bo Burnham and Weird Al Yankovic are also just really good fucking musicians. But there's one band that just confuses me. Mainly because I didn't know they were a joke. Let me explain. Throughout my career as a professional record collector, I have encountered several different kinds of music lovers. And they've all been very cool. I'll get great jazz recommendations, a lot of older like prog stuff that I might have overlooked. One of these guys stopped me at a punk rock flea market and told me that he had a band that he thinks is up my alley. The band was called Die Rotten Punkt, which stands for The Red Dots. I told him I'd check them out, which usually means I'm not gonna check them out, but I want to be nice to you because I like you. But out of sheer curiosity, I did check them out. And they sounded like this.
I am a lion.
You know, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I went into this video thinking they were just gonna be this weird German band from the 80s.
And I was kind of right.
And by kind of right, I mean it's actually two Australian comedians. They pretend to be these two German siblings named Otto and Astrid Rott. Their lore goes that they were orphaned as children and they ran away from their rural German town to the big city of Berlin, where they found solace in rock and roll. This project is hilarious. Not only do you have two Australians doing pretty questionable German accents, but they replicate the 80s post-punk German krautrock sound pretty well. I mean, honestly, if you didn't do the research that I did for this video, you might think that they were actually from the 80s, like I did. Honestly, as far as comedy bands go, Die Rotten Punkt are pretty good. Daniel and Claire are obviously very talented with their instruments, and they both sing very well, even with the ridiculous German accents. And the songs themselves are fun to listen to. If you like 80s art rock with a bit of humor added into it, definitely give these guys a listen.
I'm weird. I'm a weirdo.
I've always admired creators and entertainers who can do more than one thing. I've talked about Donald Glover before, who started out as a comedian and writer and actor before becoming Childish Gambino. And then you have people like Markiplier, who make some of the best content on YouTube, while also experimenting with choose-your-own-adventure style mini-movies, and a burgeoning acting career. I hope to do more than just talk about emo and pop punk on YouTube one day. I'd like to make a movie or something. But until then, I want to tell you about one of my favorite stand-up comedians, who also happens to have a little-known but very interesting rap persona. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce you to Blarf.
Gene Simmons is a son of a bitch.
No, that guy ain't shit. Sorry, that motherfucker got nothing on me, right?
Eric Andre is a comedian and actor that you've probably seen in movies like The Internship. He was also that guy who lived in a dumpster in Two Broke Girls. He's also the mastermind behind the chaotic late-night satire The Eric Andre Show on Adult Swim.
Charlie Parker, blow that horn.
I'm giving birth to jeans.
He's great. I've been following him for years. Not only is he a great stand-up comedian, but he's also an accomplished musician. Andre actually studied music at Berkeley. While there, he would try to start a band that was influenced by Frank Zappa and the Beastie Boys. The band was called Blarf. What does it mean?
I don't know.
Sounds like the noise you make when you throw up.
Blarf.
However, the band was short-lived. Apparently, the drummer got married super young. And apparently, he got married to someone who did not like him being in a band that sounded like what you sound like when you throw up. So the band split. In 2014, Eric Andre would revive the band. Except now it was kind of more of like a solo thing. He would release a digital hardcore album with the producer, The First Seed.
I'm gonna shop left. Don't let me eat your store.
In 2019, Andre would revive the project proper when he signed to Stone's Throw Records, the independent record label founded by DJ and producer Peanut Butter Wolf. The interesting thing about Blarf is that initially no one knew it was Eric Andre. Some people had no idea because he made such rare appearances. Blarf would deny any relation to Eric Andre, and Andre would deny any participation in Blarf. But once the album art for Blarf's debut album, Cease and Desist, came out, any confusion was settled. I mean, come on.
It's clearly not him.
Cease and Desist features a mixture of noise, rap, and plunderphonics. Plunderphonics is a form of sampling that incorporates sound bites from like old educational videos, stuff like that. It's really weird and really cool. It's a truly unique mix, to say the least, something I've really never heard before. Blarf has collaborated with artists like Thundercat and Domi and JD Beck, but there hasn't really been anything since 2019. Seeing as Eric Andre puts a lot of time into his show, movies, I guess he just doesn't have time to be Blarf.
If he even is Blarf.
If you like noisy, experimental rap music, then I highly recommend this project. Like, imagine if Death Grips was influenced by Captain Beefheart. That's Blarf.
I fucking hate that guy.
What do you think of these bands? Are they weird enough for you to check out? What other unique bands and artists should I check out in case I want to make another one of these? Let me know in the comments. That's gonna do it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, then I highly recommend smashing that like button and sharing this video with everyone you know. I'm a small, independent content creator who does everything on his own. And so every like, every comment, every share, any interaction with this video at all helps me out a lot. With all that being said, thank you for watching. As always, I'm Trevor. Stay uncool. And that's the end of the video. Goodbye.